Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning trading room. Hang on here a second. We'll get the screen share going. All right. So the market's opening well to the downside here this morning. You can see pre-market falling off through the overnight. Big move lower. So we have a rather substantial gap here to the upside at the moment. We'll put that away for now. Of course, it's the market just opened up. So when we have a huge gap like that, you always need to be careful um, and try to see whether the market's going to try to fill that gap. I'm not sure they're going to try it right out of the open here. But that's what we need to figure out. Okay, getting a little bit of a reverse now, so that's interesting. Maybe they will try to get into that opening gap. Okay, the hawk here fairly responsive to start. We got a first micro macro cross higher and good follow through on that. Very, very early trend change signal here on the Falcon. That coincided with the number 2 signal here on the Raptor. All three of those signals working out pretty well. Okay. We're seeing now a number one signal. I think it's almost time to think about taking a trade. Letting some of the early market activity settle, and it looks like this number two signal, this reversal signal, now continuing. We're getting the number one signal, and that looks like it's playing out nicely. So we'll see what kind of pushback we get. Maybe I can get a number three signal here. That would be the hard edge bounce. What time is it? Okay, we're almost, well, we are 7 minutes into the session, almost coming up on 10 minutes. Trying to avoid that quarter to the hour trading time. I would very much like to see a little bit of pullback here, perhaps back to the hard edge of the Raptor and Eagle trading bands. Looks like the Hawk might produce a 4-arrow consolidation. It's currently working on a macro pullback. Oh, it was a macro pullback there for a moment. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of a setback now. So here the Hawk giving us a red bar buy signal. The Falcon already starting to turn over a little bit. The Raptor still bullish here, and we're producing kind of a follow-up signal now. Let's see if the high holds and we get that number two. The problem is, oh shoot, there they go. Doggone it. They're probably going to rally a little bit higher from here. Yeah, there they go. Nuts. Got caught snoozing. Oh well. just put that away for now. Okay, back now into the hard edge. And now we'll see. This is going to be crunch time for the market. Are the buyers going to push back and continue the trend? Or are the sellers going to take the market back? All right, here now the hard edge. The Hawk's actually performing pretty well, which is the nature of the Hawk, of course. Okay, the Falcon may be working a late filter entry here. We're a little mixed up on our signals. The Eagle back now into the hard edge of the trading band. Yeah, Mark says that 6,800 level sure is a strong level. It kind of falls right in the middle of the mix. I'm debating taking the #1 signal here. But I would feel better taking it above the high. Now the hard edge bounce. The problem I'm having is that the market may hold up here at the highs of the morning. So I would be looking taking a trade like that, but that's kind of silly because if I take my number one signal, you can see I'll reach my profit target before I even fill on the order. Okay, we'll see if they come back now with the number two signal. All right, this might be worth trying. So all I'm trying to do is set up for a possible failure. All right, here comes the number two signal. It didn't print as such because it's a little bit drawn out, but that's what it is. That's a number two signal. I'm going to set up to short like so. Kind of a great big second push on the number two signal here. Because there's support, right? There's support here. There's going to be support near the hard edge. Wow, look at that go. All right, well. Shoot, got caught looking the wrong way. Okay, Well, the trend is still up, so I'm not all that keen on shorting it right now. I've missed out on a few of these rallies higher, and I'm wondering now if I'm going to be too late to the party by trying to buy in now. Well, I just didn't have the courage to hop on board there when I thought I had the market cornered, and of course now I'm kind of stuck on my back foot. Okay, so what we should see now is the market try to test the lows, really. That's what it's going to try to do. It's going to try to retest the lows, and then if that bounces, okay, we're going to get a cloud cross over here on the Raptor. The cloud's almost fully crossed. We've got a warning dot. We don't have a completed signal yet. This is the pullback for the cloud crossover. Honestly, the way the market is moving right now, especially with the obvious bull rally, I'll look at shorting it if it continues lower, but probably not until we get back down here toward this 67, 87 zone. It would just seem a little bit too risky for me, I think. All right, are they going to follow through to the short side? Or are the buyers going to take the market back? Very, very broad trading range right now. Okay, there's confirmation of the number one signal. Like I said, I'm probably going to keep my entry down here somewhere. But by doing so, however, I can probably get by with the tighter stop. I'm probably not going to have to leave my stop way up there. Okay, a little bit of a continuation signal. Oh, they're not heading lower yet. Okay, this is going to look like a hard edge bounce now. So there's a couple of things stacking up in our favor. The real test now is going to be a retest of the high. That retest of a high, if we get it, and another failure, is really going to back the market into a corner. Okay, so here's a number two signal. We're going to see if this number two signal fails. I may actually try to run this one out. All right, here comes the number three. Here's a good second push entry on the number three. And I'm going to delete my break even as well, because last few times the break even kind of caught me a little bit early. And all I'm trying to do is take advantage of some of this early momentum. And we'll see, maybe the market will get back down toward the lows of the morning. That would be ideal. Oh, come on now. Give me a little bit more follow through on that breakdown. Oh dear. A little bit more of a pullback than I anticipated. The buyer's looking a little bit stronger. Was I too early in this trade? Ah, nuts. That's not what I was looking for. Shoot. You're gonna tap me out. Yep. All right. Well, there you go. Got my work cut out for me now. But it does seem as though they're not heading any lower, so I can attempt a cloud crossover on the buy now. That's really odd. There should have been more follow through to that. All right, well, there's the cloud crossover on the buy. And we'll see whether or not they're going to follow through now on the long side. Richard's asking, Eric, would it be possible for you to focus on one of the birds for a session, then another? Well, I most certainly could do that if that's something you guys would like to see. You'll have to let me know. I actually don't know the mix of owners in the room. I don't know how many are full DTS owners, how many are Raptor owners. You notice that I spend a little bit more time on the Raptor because I think the majority of the users in the room are Raptor users, but I'm not 100% on that. So if that's something you would like to see, yes, by all means, let me know. Yeah, Mark says I faded. I did the fade Eric trade on that trend change and picked up a nice profit. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I knew I was in trouble halfway through when they got back above these highs here. That's probably where you entered too. I knew I was in trouble right there. I should have pulled the pin at that point. Okay, well, I'm not getting filled on the long side. I'm a little fuzzy this morning. Usually I can get a better angle on what's going on, but they kind of got me second guessing myself here right now. Probably because that big gap to the short side, that big overnight gap, I still haven't figured out whether it's a continuation or if we're going to see a reversal based on that. All right, here comes another number 3 signal. You know, doggone it, Eric. That's awfully close. All right, well, let's give her a whirl. Sorry, I'm talking to myself here. Awfully close to the highs. That's awfully close to the highs. All right, brought me in. I'll leave the break even. In fact, I'll move the break even up here closer toward the high of the morning. I'll adjust it if it looks like the market's going to stall. If we get above the highs of the morning, then it's going to look to me like they're going to try to fill that overnight gap. Shoot. I'm just not, well, maybe I should just be taking profit on target. That's what I should be doing. Okay, so I'm going to bring my break even back down a little. Come on, get up there. Nuts. Here we go again. Oh, man. Just not getting the love from the market this morning. My stop's here below the support zone, but I really need to see some buying come back into the market. Otherwise, this is going to turn out to be a great big double top. Here, you'll see it better on the Eagle. See, we're back here now near the highs of the morning, and this could set up the market for a little bit of a pushback, especially if it's going to start moving into a sideways trading range. So I really, 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 really need to see the buyers come through here. Come on, just give me that little push. All right, Well, I'll take the trade to break even. Oop, can't do that. I'm going to hold my stop for a moment. Where's the next resistance line? 68.25. After that, we're up to 68.46. That would be a very nice trade if I could get it. Seeing a little bit of a pullback now against the breakout here of the high of the morning. Just manually going to roll it below that swing. The parabolic's a little bit cozy. Let's see where the ATR would be at. Yeah, the ATR is right about there as well. Okay, we should be just below the first support zone, which is going to act as resistance. What I should have done perhaps is double up my position on the reverse. Come on, one more push. You can do it. Now they're going to, yeah, okay, they're going to tap me out, but that's all right. A little bit too much of resistance here at 68.25. Oh, they're coming back with yet another signal. I'll hold off for a moment. Oh, possible late filter entry signal, no less. That was a good little move, though. That pretty much squared me up with from my earlier not so good trade. Well done, Mark. Mark says picked up another decent profit on that trend change signal. That was a nice move higher, wasn't it? So we had both the early trend change signal and then the proper trend change signal. Getting a trend change signal now to short, but given the uptrend, the obvious uptrend, I think we need to be a little bit more selective about selling opportunities. We've almost filled that opening gap. Ryman says Monday's low 68.21 quarter. Wasn't that long ago. We'll see whether it's still influential. So what are they going to do with this? The Hawks a little bit of a mess, back into yellow bars. The Falcon now doing a late filter entry to the short side. Okay, back now to the hard edge on the Eagle. We should expect a little bit of a bounce. Overall, the trend still up, so I guess what I'm looking for now is a test of the extreme, right? Once I get that test of the extreme, I'll have a better idea which way the market is going. Here was the test of the extreme of the low. It didn't get, quite as low as I would normally anticipate it, but that's exactly what it was a test of the extreme. The market comes back with a buy signal, and then you can see the result from there. That's the hard part with the test of the extreme, is they're easy to see in hindsight. They're not always so easy to see when they're first building. Well, we'll just wait a couple more minutes. Oh, wow. All right, the seller's getting pretty strong here. I'm thinking about selling again, but I'm wondering if I am too late, if I should wait for a little bit of a pullback before trying to get short from here. We're so close to 6,800. 6,800 right here, and we know that's a sticky spot. Well done, Mark. Mark says he's done for the day, picked up that late filter entry signal. That one right here, that reverse. Nice move lower from there. And here come the buyers one more time. I was wondering whether the rally this morning was looking like a bear flag, if the market was just stretching out to be a gigantic bear flag. We're fairly neutral overall in the hard edge, producing a little bit of a bounce. What I'm looking for is the failure. I'm looking to see which way the market is leaning. Right now, it's leaning more to the short side. We're kind of getting some mixed signals. But the overall trend is still up, so it's a little bit of a sticky point. Okay, the Raptor cloud's now starting to cross. Oh, actually, here on the Hawk, I didn't even notice we had a really nice little green bar cell going on. Floyd's watching crude oil. Here's crude oil now. I've got, if your crude oil chart looks different than mine, it's because crude has been so quiet lately. Well, actually, last couple sessions it's been pretty good, but it's, oop, I got the wrong contract month. There we go. I've changed crude oil to the faster settings to the 446. Ah, yes, the grind. Lots of yellow bars, lots of signals, very little follow through. Oh, here now that number one signal to short. And I get a second push entry opportunity on that one. And all right, I'm going to try to run it. Come on. Oh, look at that. They're just kissing the break even. That support line. That better not bounce it back again. I will be most upset. Well, let's just give it a little bit of a push, get over that. There we go. I'll take my break even and hold my stops for the moment. Oh, come on. Oh, the hesitation is killing me. Get down there. You know you want to. Come on, you can do it. There we go. All right, I'll just leave it in parabolic mode now and Nurali asks, my number one signal came late, 3 bars, so is there any setting for that? No, there is no adjustment on the number one signal. Sometimes the data feed will, if our data feeds are a little bit different, I think I'm using kinetic data now, but honestly, sometimes it only takes a few milliseconds and the signal will print a little bit different. Now, fortunately, that is the exception. That is not the rule. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. It is still a valid signal, even though it may have printed a little bit later. This is why I'm constantly reviewing the signals in the room as well, because the signal prompts are helpful, but you should also endeavor to recognize the signals apart from the prompt. So you should be able to anticipate a number 1 or number 2 or number 3 signal as market conditions allow. Okay, looks like I'm going to get tapped out there on that little bit of a reverse, but hey, that's all right. That was a decent little move lower. Put me back in the black. If it wasn't for my stupid trade earlier on, I'd be sitting pretty good shape right now. Oh well, that's trading. But as the Rolling Stones said, I'm back. Oh, no, not the Stones. They should have, though. AC/DC. I'm back in black. Okay, buyers showing up a little bit, giving us some support. Falcon starting to turn over a little. Here for you DTS traders, you know, I always say the first micro macro cross signal on your hawk, that's a bread and butter type signal. Very, very rarely does that signal fail. Let's just take a look at all the opportunities we had with that signal here this morning. So right out of the open, we had one right here. Let me review. The first micro macro cross signal occurs when the micro line, that's the thin one, crosses the macro line. And it's the first signal where everything is in sync. So that means your trend lines, your bar color, your signal, your filter are all the same color. Really, really simple, but very, very powerful, especially if you're looking taking profit on target. So there was one. Here was another. No, actually that one was all in sync. The market went all out of sync here. See, the filter changed, the bar color, the trend line. So that actually means that is also a first micro macro cross, even though the lines technically did not cross and uncross. Same thing happening here. Oh, look at that. Did that one work out? No, there's one that actually did not work out, which is rare. The tip off to that one would have been the red bar buy. The red bar buy tends to occur near the end of a trend. Sometimes you can sneak past the first one, but very often the second one is going to fail. Even though it doesn't look like it, this is obviously the second one. This one almost became a red bar buy signal. So, but if you're just a purist and you're taking your signal on target, I'm afraid that this one may have evened you out after the other three profitable trades, but then you had another chance to come right back with another profitable move, and that one triggered. Oh, that one did trigger and rallied up to the profit target. Anyways, I'll leave the rest for you to review, but you can see just how well this signal works out. This little move here before we leave it just emphasizes the importance as well of putting a quota on your trading day. You don't need to trade 10 times a day to make a good profit. In fact, trading more often usually means it's more difficult for you to finish the day with a profit. If you restrict your trading to, say, 2 or 3 or maybe 4 trades a day, you're going to find that you're going to do much better. Well, how can you make any money, you say? Well, by increasing your position size. So even though on these hawk trades, our target is a very modest $50, and you can see each of these went much further than that, there's two things you can do. You can either try to leave a runner in play, so you can take profit on part of your position and then leave a runner in play in case the market gives you a little bit more profit. That's always nice to do. Or you just get in and out with your profit. So for instance, let's take a look at one of these signals right here. So here's the first micro macro cross signal. If I trade it to here, I can afford 2 contracts. Even with my very, very modest $50 target, there's a $100 move, $100 profit. I would have done the same there, and I would have done the same here. So all told, I've made $300. Is that not enough for you? All right, well then increase your account size to the point where you can trade 3 contracts or perhaps 5 contracts. The numbers really start to add up. If you're trading 5 contracts, that's $250 per move. That's a $750 day. You're less than 10 minutes into the trading day, and you're already up a very, very substantial profit. So you increase profit not by trading more, or pardon me, by trading more often. Rather, you increase profit by trading more size. It's a very important concept, and yet a concept that seems to be very difficult for most traders to learn, and yet it will make a huge difference to your bottom line. Yeah, I got a little testimonial here, and amen from Mark. Mark says, I tried to restrict myself to 3 or 4 good trades with 3 or 4 contracts each time. That seems to have been a good recipe for my success thus far. It's true. The market's going to throw you what looks like good-looking trades, and you're going to get fooled sometime. You know, I got fooled early on. I thought the market was going to head lower. It went higher, and then I kind of got a little gun shy, and I was stuck buying in. So it took me a few minutes to settle down, but that's trading. That's the way the markets work. So you need to try to skew things in your favor. Try to put the odds in your favor. If you've ever been to Vegas, you know the slot machine is a bad bet. And yet so many people play it. Why? Well, because it's easy. You don't need to know anything. But if you're more serious about gambling in Vegas, you're going to probably play blackjack or maybe craps, because you know those games give you slightly better odds. Yeah, Nick says, I wish you had told me that a few years ago. It's sad but true, Nick. A lot of people never get a handle on it, but at least now you know. Late filter entry here on the Falcon. I was trying to get a hold of that one. Oh, darn it. Okay, I really got to place my trade and then explain what I'm doing. I was hoping to get on board there. I probably would have taken it below the low, though, in all honesty. I probably would have given up a couple of ticks. And it looks like it should slip down there to the profit target. All right, well, here we'll leave this for the moment. I thought they'd be a little bit faster getting down there. Okay, so here they come. They're making their other push lower, and it looks like I would have found the profit objective. There we go. Mark makes a comment here. He says, I know we don't talk about Top Step very often here. Let me just pause for a moment. For those of you who are not familiar with Top Step Trader is an organization where they will actually fund you to trade their money. If it's something that you think you might be interested in, they are definitely worth checking out. I'll do they have what they call Top Step Radio, and every once in a while I'll do a presentation on their program. Eddie's a great host. He's always very fun to interact with, very funny fellow. But Mark says, I know we don't talk about Top Step very often here, but if you go to their site and follow their rules, they have some restrictions. You can follow to be successful without being in their program that can really help your trading. Follows the same concept you just discussed. I'm considering one of their combines myself, so I've been practicing on my own before committing to a combine. Way to go, Mark. You probably would do well there. The only thing I've found with Top Step is that they make you run very tight stops. They have very restrictive drawdown requirements. Now, to be fair, it's their sandbox. If they're going to give you money, you have to play by their rules. But you know, the DTS system is very good. The DTS and Raptor, very often when we get a signal, we get immediate momentum on the signal, right? Here's the number one signal. The market doesn't hesitate. Boom, down she goes. The number three signal, slight hesitation. Boom, down she goes. But we've all seen it where sometimes you get the signal. Well, I'm not going to be able to find you a good example because this morning has been fairly good on the follow through. Oh, here we go. Here's a number one signal. All right, so here's a number one signal. And you know that normally I like to keep my swing stops at least 2 swings back. The market may violate the first swing, but it's very unlikely it's going to violate the second swing. This may fall out of the Top Step requirements, which is unfortunate because you can see it was a valid signal even though we had to endure some heat. Had I placed my stops a little bit tighter, you know, maybe as per their requirements, I would have incurred a loss even though the trade eventually turned out to be profitable. So that's something to bear in mind, but definitely worth checking out. And now we're back here at the lows of the morning, getting a little bit of a pushback. Oh, Steve says generally the last 3 weeks in the YM is traded better than the NASDAQ. The YM also a great mini market, also trades $5 a tick. The NASDAQ typically has a little bit more volatility to it, and the YM certainly will be trading a little bit smoother. So if you find the NASDAQ a little bit too wild and crazy, check out the YM. That's the mini Dow. I think you would be pleasantly surprised. So a very nice move lower there. I got tagged out a little bit early before this last little move down, but still a good move. Now we're producing a soft edge buy. That would be our counter trend signal. I don't know how I feel about going counter trend here, but you know, maybe take it above that swing, try to trade it back to the hard edge. This, by the way, a little bit of an aggressive trade, but we'll see. It might work out for me here. Because it is counter trend, I will leave the profit target and break even orders in play as is. Oh yeah, see now, oops, here's an issue. The best number 2 signals actually come after a number 3 signal. So here I am getting in early yet again, and this could turn around and bite me yet again. I did mention this counter trend trade was a high risk trade, did I not? Yeah, okay, good. Just want to make sure I cover my bases there. If we come up with a number 2 signal now, that will give me a little bit of breathing room. We're working on a number 2. It hasn't printed yet. We've got the test of the extreme, in this case the extreme being the low, and we have the buy signal, which did not trigger. By the way, shorting below these lows is also a viable trade. Oh, look at that. Here they come with another hard edge bounce. Oh dear, I think I've just dug a bit of a hole for myself again. I'm going to have a little bit more work to do before the day is done. Not holding out much hope for this counter trend move. There's another benefit for you in journaling. You know, when you journal your trades and you look back and you see your trades that did not work out, you're going to start to recognize a pattern. And very often the counter trend trades you're going to find are those that do not work out very well. And here's another thing about trading that a lot of traders don't get a handle on until it's far too late, is the patience factor. Just having the ability to sit there and do nothing is really, really difficult for most traders. But here is a solution, and Mark says, that's why I stick to only a handful of high probability signals, and so far the stops can be tighter. I'm not advocating people follow that, as everyone's mileage will vary, but it's been working for me and the tools I've incorporated into my trading. So having the ability to sit by and watch the market unfold without doing anything is something most people never really get a handle on. And yet it makes such a difference to your trading. So by limiting your exposure in the market, you know, if you're only going to take 3 or 4 trades on the day, you can afford to be very picky, and you can afford to avoid those less favorable trades. All right, gang, I think we're going to button up shop here, and well, we'll do it all over again tomorrow. And if you're going to continue trading today, it does look as though the sellers have a handle on the marketplace. So any pullback, you should consider shorting. Like I said, I've got a little bit more work to do this afternoon, but the market is very brisk. We're getting good follow through on our trades, which is always nice to see. All right, talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.